Joining me now to discuss this and more is One Nation leader Pauline Hanson. Senator, nice to catch up with you. Thanks for joining me. So still no meeting in the pipeline. I mean, this was meant to be Penny's big peacekeeping mission to get this relationship back on track, of course, amid defence spending issues, Australia's failure to back the US strikes on Iran. But is this not the job of the Prime Minister?
Correct. It is the job of the Prime Minister, and he's been badly snubbed by President Trump, because if they had a good working relationship, well, then Trump would have picked up the phone to him and said, listen, mate, I can't make that right now, but we'll organise something else. And he hasn't had that relationship with Trump at all. You know, and it's quite obvious. You know, they call China a great power, yet I think she just has a sling at Trump and saying, oh, well, he hasn't got a place in the world, or he thinks America's a different place in the world than it used to be. Trump won't be there in 4 years' time. It'll be a different president, but we must have a clear and open, a good alliance with America. As I keep saying this all the time, we will need them to back up if we ever have problems in the world. Albanese hasn't, you know, she did come back empty-handed. You know, where's the August review of that? What's happened with that? What's happened with the tariffs? Also, other agreements that we've done, I just don't think that she's actually come back with anything whatsoever. And I see the way that you've said it. Totally agree with you, Danica. I think Albanese is pathetic as a leader, and I think Trump's seen right through him and hasn't got time for him.
No, I completely agree. And, you know, they're coming out every day saying the meeting's rescheduled. Well, you know, how many times does it have to be rescheduled before something actually concrete? There's some sort of concrete plans. I completely understand what you're saying. Now, let's pivot to energy, because there's another fork in the road for the renewables-only fantasy. Offshore wind giant Blue Float Energy is considering selling off its Victorian project, which would really be a spanner in the works for the green energy transition. But at the same time, the massive VNI West Transmission Line project, which will link Victoria and New South Wales's energy grids, has now been delayed by 2 years. I mean, Senator, these are not the first green projects to either be canned or delayed in recent months. Where is the foresight for keeping the lights on in this country?
Well, it hasn't. It's been delayed. It was supposed to go ahead by 2028. Now they've delayed it for another 2 years to 2030, because they never had decent consultation with the farmers, landowners, where the transmission lines are going. Because of the delay, it means escalating costs that is going to happen with this as well. So now they're going to pay farmers or neighbouring farmers, you know, for putting in transmission lines, anything between $20,000, $40,000 plus that they're going to get paid for. And also you've got escalating costs on this $20 billion project, and that's been advocated by the energy market, that it's going to hit households with escalating costs. Also, to put in wind turbines, they're wanting to put 1,000 wind turbines on in Victoria, which there's been an increase of 40% cost of wind turbines, and this is worldwide. Also, to put in 5.2 million solar panels. So you got the power station that's supposed to be closing down by 2028. The other one, which is Loy Yang, I should say, is to close down by 2035. Yet Victoria's on this trajectory of having 90% renewable energy by 2035. It's not going to happen. And businesses are going under, industries and manufacturing going under, their normal household who can't pay their bills are going under and losing their homes because they want to keep pushing for this renewable energy, which is going to cost the taxpayers and ratepayers of Victoria huge amounts of money. Not only is Blue Float going to consider not going ahead with their project, also the company that's looking at from Netherlands to put in the wind turbines off the shores in New South Wales. They're considering pulling out also.
Yeah, and also let's not forget that our power bills yesterday on July 1 went up by 9%, even though we keep getting told that our power bills are going to go down under this renewables-only fantasy. Yet we've got delays and cancellations in the pipeline. It's an absolute disaster. Now, look, I've got to ask you about this, because Cricket Australia will avoid playing matches on Australia Day again for a second year in a row after the fixtures were released for the next season. Now, we know that Cricket Australia previously dropped the term Australia Day from its marketing campaigns. It's been tying itself in knots over how to not offend Indigenous Australians. Senator, if we can't play our national sport on our national day, what is the point? Why have these organisations gone so woke? They are bending over backwards.
Look, Danica, I feel exactly the same, and I believe the majority of Australians feel that way as well. And it's only through backlash from the public that they will actually start thinking twice about it. I think it's disgusting, you know, on that one day, Australia Day, and it is our national sport that they play apart from the footy, but cricket is very much a love sport by many Australians, and I think it's disgusting where we're headed with this woke attitude that we have, and the state government's pushing ahead with it. And you made it in your summary, in your editorial, about, you know, what's happening nation within a nation. I've been saying that, Danica, since 1996, and that was planned in 1988 through Peter Joel. We were supposed to have a nation within a nation, and it breaks my heart to see it slowly unravelling here, and politicians are actually dividing us as a nation. That's exactly where they're headed, is a nation within a nation. I pity Australians, the future generations, and if I have anything to do with it, as long as I'm in the floor of Parliament, I am going to keep pushing back and objecting to this and doing whatever I can to turn it around.
Good on you, Pauline Hanson. You've always kept up the good fight, and you're right, it's like a nation of tribes. It is a real disgrace as to what's going on, and you're right, it's been driven by woke governments like what we're seeing in Victoria. Pauline Hanson, nice to catch up as always. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this evening. Really appreciate it.